Today's daf is daf lamed daled. We're learning in the Mishnah if a shomer elects, instead of going the route of saying that they're potter, for example, the object was stolen or lost, he said, "You know what? I will pay you." Shilim b'leirotz l'shomer. He pays and didn't want to swear, but as a result of that, he is entitled to, if they ever catch the ganav, and the ganav has to pay penalties, double or even worse, 4 or 5 times if he shechted the animal. The shamer who elected to swear is the one who gets that kafir. So now the Gemara we'll discuss how far we take that. What about if he didn't actually swear yet? He said, "I'm prepared to swear," and then they caught the person. Is that sufficient, or he said, "I'm prepared to pay, but didn't pay yet"? Is that enough, or he actually has to pay the money over? Bearing in mind that he is coined, as we had yesterday, either retrospectively from the time he took the animal, because Nasika Imale, as if the owner said, "Well, if you're prepared to pay, then here, take the animal for now," or a minute before it was stolen, he got the animal. So what makes that transaction? When do we say the owner is happy to, renounce his shaykhs to these benefits? Says the Gemara. Shilem, he paid v'leirotzel l'shav. He didn't want to swear. In the name of Rabbi Yechanan. Loi shilim mamid doesn't mean he physically handed over the money. As soon as he said, "I'm ready to pay," even though he didn't pay, is good enough. He's already now entitled to the tash beganif. He'll get the kafel. So what it means. It says in Mishnah shilim. Mishnah clearly states he paid v'leirotzel l'shav. Didn't want to swear. Shilim mila shilim loy, only if he actually transferred the money. Not he said, "I will." So if you want to be so pedantic, Amos Sefer, read the next line of the Mishnah. Nishba v'loy ratz l'sham. If instead he said, "Okay, I'm swearing that it was stolen or lost and I don't want to pay," then he doesn't get any of the benefits if they catch the gun if it goes to the owner of the animal. Sounds to me dafke because he did not want to. V'loy ratz l'sham. But if the moment he's ratz l'sham, the moment he's willing to pay, is good enough. Contradiction in the Mishnah. So obviously you can't bring it out from Mishnah one way or another. Time of the Leirotz to be if you want to. Obviously you're going to pay. Sometimes we the Shayra pick up. Sometimes we say Maholek Lamashma. You can't bring it Mishnah one way or another. Sometimes we say Nasik Oimer. No, the Mishnah is saying that this case plus even the middle case is like this because the last case is different. And so sometimes we try to reinterpret the Mishnah to make it work. Sometimes we say the Mishnah leave it out. The Mishnah is not talking about it. Tani goes Rabbi Yechanan. We actually the Brisa like Rabbi Yechanan. That saying is good enough. It says, somebody rented an animal from his friend when he was stolen. Now he could get out of it by saying an accident happened. He said, "I'll pay and I won't swear." But then afterwards, he pays kefil clear. But all he did was he said, "I'll pay," and that was good enough. That he gets the kefil. Omar Papa says, when do we say that you're entitled to what do you call it? When do I say that he's entitled to the kefil? If he incriminates himself. What do you mean? Omar Papa. Shomer chinam. Kivan she'amar peshaiti. He said, instead of saying, he could have said, it was stolen, he'd be potter. And instead he said, it was my fault, which means I have to pay. So not just I'll pay you. Even he said, it's my fault, I'll have to pay. So the owner will say, okay, if it turns out to be that, if we catch the gun, it's my fault that it was stolen. Well, that's the rope of others. If they ever catch the gun, then he's entitled to the kefil. The e-boy, because he has because if he wanted to, Patanashri, he could have just walked away and said, look, it was stolen. Same with if he incriminates himself, but he has a way out. For example, as soon as it was stolen, because he boy, if he wanted to, potter nafshay b'shvura. He could have said there was an einus, and it would have been potter. But my have on the other hand, a borrower. The only the time that a borrower was potter is the mason machnalach. It died in the natural way, but that's so rare. So a shoyel, if he says hareini misham al pay, he's not being a nice guy because he's really high for everything. The only only way out is by coming up with a story that it died naturally during doing the work that I borrowed it for, and that's so rare that people don't say because they know they won't be believed.
So he's being a nice guy. He's paying when
Is that I had no breda because to say that is so rare that nobody's gonna believe him anyway. Or looks at it, like failure, but he's not kind of the failure. Why not? The might have a little mifta nafshe. How could he have exempted himself? The mesa machmas malacha. Mesa mach malacha l'shkiach. It doesn't happen much if I didn't say it. Yeah. Igedam, another say, Amra Papa, that's one version. The other version is Amra Papa, Shoyal Nami, even a Shoyal. You also, since he has a way out, he could have said Mason Machalacha, Kiva Shama Reina Mishal Machalacha. Why? The boy Patanasha Machalacha. So the first Papa says it's so rare that therefore it's not even considered an option. And the second Papa says, no matter how rare it is, he's still a nice guy because he could have used that option. Some purpose. Account doesn't look perfect. Yeah, but it's rare. True, but usually you don't borrow for every reason. You borrow for a short-term period. So if it's healthy when you got it, it's very unlikely that it'll die now. And it has to be Mesa Machmas Malacha. Oinus doesn't help. Rabbi said, Abaye said,
we're rewarding him for saying, I could have lied.
But he's paid. The Balbos is getting his money. But this guy could have got out of that. He was getting money, but he feels some gratitude. So I didn't have to go to Bezdin with you. We didn't have to have a fight. You gave me the money straight away because you could have denied it. You could have said moving. We'd have to then go to Bezdin, have a holding trader. You would have to swear, and eventually you might come pay me anyway. But it would be such a tircha, an expense. Here, straight away, you came forward and you made it, and you said yes. I owe you money. Here's money. So in gratitude, I'll say to you, okay, if it got if it's found. Obviously, the principal is yours because you paid for it, or whatever. But also, yeah. But anything else that happens, the kafel, anything else that comes with it, it's yours.
Rabbi Yochanan say only in a case
Rabbi Yochanan
he doesn't have to pay. He offers to pay, then he gets it.
Yes, Rabbi Yochanan is getting involved in this part of it. He's just saying as soon as he says I'm willing to pay, it's good enough. A Papa comes along and says, "What exactly are you saying?"
Oh, so it's not necessarily.
Then they're not. So the two versions of Papa regarding the shell. I'm going to read that. Said even though the second version of shell says shell also gets a kafel, but there's a difference. Abai said, "Shayel Achisham." By the other shayim, as soon as they say I'm ready to pay you, is good enough. By a shayel, he actually has to pay. Why? My time a hoyel the whole hanor shaloi. Because by a shayel, the balabas, the owner, was the one who was nice to you. He let you use his thing for gratis. Everyone else has to pay for it, or they can't use it. You're using my object. Doesn't cost you a cent. So therefore, just saying that you're going to pay me, I don't really feel. Oh, I owe you everything. I'm beholden to you. It's only if you actually paid. Okay, you help me out. Says the Gemara. Tiny Gemara said that Razvi, but look like Razvi. Hashoyel part of later. If you borrow part of your friend, the Nigma was stolen. The Kidim Hashoyel Vishilim. It says in the shoyel jumped in the head and paid. Okay, for the shoyel gets the shoyel. Now it says clearly here that a shoyel gets the case. Now remember the first version of Rav Papa, a shoyel gets nothing, right? The shoyel gets because the only way out he has is to say that it was Mesach Halacha and that's Fleshkiach. Nevertheless, yeah. Lisha Kabbalah Papa Badlap is not a question. It's not a question. Surely is a question. So there is one version of the pshat here is by some of the Shainim. There's no question that it definitely argues with a Papa because a Papa says a show gets nothing and doesn't get the kafel. He's like, clearly you do. Other Shailim, including Rashi, that no question that Papa's going to answer. When did I say the show gets nothing? Like Rabbi Zvi, only if he said he'll pay. All the other Shailim they say they'll pay, they'll get it, and he says he'll pay a bit. But if he actually pays, he'll get it and says Kadam Mishum. So he paid. So then I agree that he didn't tell. Lish the basta lame to have duty. Let it be a kasha. Because it says that he had to pay, and you said before saying is good enough. But Papa, me alim must listen. What's the kasha? The Mishnah says shilim, and I told you it means saying. So over here also it says shilim, and he's saying the Tani shilim became the Bama. He said that's what the Bryce said. He paid doesn't mean paid. It means he said he'll pay. Said you want me dome? How can you pay to Mishnah? Hasam like Tani kidim. Mishnah says shilim. So you tell me shilim means he said I'm ready to pay. Hachak Tani kidim. It says clearly here in this Bryce. Kidim b'shilim. Kidim means he went forward. He went in the head straight away with alacrity. and he paid. Kiddim sounds like he actually paid, not he just jumped in. Otherwise, wouldn't use the expression kiddim. Says the Gemara, my kiddim Amma. No, yes, he could use the expression kiddim that without having to go any arguments or any discussions, this guy, I'm ready to pay. And kiddim means he went straight forward. He offered straight away without you even asking. That's all. But it's talking about staying, and that's why the show is no good. As I said, the show has to pay. Says the Gemara. The Gabish, it's one Braisa says by Rabbi Yechon on top of the page. It said the Seicha said which means he said. And the Gabish by a Shoyul it says Kiddim, and by a Shoyul it says Kiddim. You Papa say that in the second version that a Shoyul also gets the kefil, and even if he just says it's Abzvidin in a Abaya said that no, that you actually have to pay. But you say it says there are two brises. One brise talks about a soicha, and there he says the brise by the shoyl. The second brise says v'kidim b'shilim. Change the words. Isn't that clear? That's a different situation. That by a shoyl, he actually has to pay like a bezidin to the name of Baya. Shmamna daftik toni says he went back. Midi gabe hadodi tanya. The two different brises. One time to learn this syntax, and one time to learn a different way. You can't bring that ayah if we're being the same brise. And the Tana then changes when it talks about Shoyl, it changes the words, and you have a good Taina. Why does it change it from Shilim to from Omar to Kiddim b'Shilim? Then you're right. That Omar means he said, Kiddim b'Shilim means he actually paid. So the Brisa, each Tana has his own way of saying. Says the Gemara, Shailinu l'Tanoid d'vei Rab Chia Rab Eisha. We asked the Tanoim, they asked the who to those who learned to Sefter Rab Chia and Sefter Rab Eisha. Because those are the main ones. But Amri, they told them, Gabi Adodetanya, learn together. It's hard to understand what actually happened there. Because they couldn't talk to the people, to Rabbi many generations later. They talked to some Amaida who knew the Braisa. How was Amaida know if they were learned together or not? I mean, they knew that which Braisas was said at the same time. It's one thing to remember all the Braisas. To know exactly which day in the yeshiva, this was on a Tuesday afternoon at the same time. How do they know that? I don't know.
They remember them discussing it.
No, but these are 3 generations later. So the chazit. So it seems like not only the chazit, the brises, they knew exactly what time the guy gave a cough and what time this said and this brise, because 2 different tanoim, 2 different brises, and yet they know exactly. Very hard to not like a kedusha.
Very colorful. This is almost nisses the day.
Yeah, yeshiva. It's saying, how can they talk to the yeshiva of Chia Baisha? The Chia Baisha was the lebbers of rabbis of Shimon.
Existed a few generations.
Yeah, so 3 generations later, how would they know how the brises were learned? One thing knowing the brises.
What determines it? Whatever they learn in that yeshiva.
Yeah, but they know the brises. To know which brises were said at which time, and
that's part of what they learned in the yeshiva. I mean, this Rashi seems to imply that it's what was learned in the yeshiva. That
you know how many times in Shas we had media area that they learned together? Nowhere do we say, okay, no, let's go back and ask the yeshiva, which existed, what happened. That they should be that well, versed to know exactly what everyone says is pretty amazing. But let's go. Obviously, they did. Doesn't more like it.
I mean, you see, they have a koch. Which year that ever said like this, and then this year.
That's because it's one person that ever. Here you have 2 different prices.
And you have the family of Rabbi Yosha. And they have such a koch that
but it wasn't Rabbi Chia who said it, or Rabbi Yosha. They was just like Rebbe did his yeshiva. They weren't bring either. They invited all these people in and said, "Okay, what do you hear from your Rebbe?" And they would take it and record it, and they would decide whether the wording is right. They would discuss it and get the wording right. They would ask the time, "What did you learn from your Rebbe?" And then put it together. So here you have 2 different tanoim, 2 different brises. That means probably one Talmud said this brisa, another Talmud said that brisa, and they should be said exactly the same, one after another. They learned it together at the same time. It's okay. I don't know. Obviously they did. Okay, let's go back to Pshita. Yeah, very good. Pshita. The guy said, "I'm not paying." Then he changed his mind. I'm paying. How come Mishal? Remember, the Papa said saying is good enough. Well, the fact is, the last thing he said was he's going to pay. What about the other way around? Omar had Mishal said, "I'll pay," right? And then the Chazam and then he said, "I won't pay," and then they caught again. How do we interpret the word and say I won't pay? He changed his mind. He still wants to pay, but he doesn't have the money right now, so he's trying to delay. But What about, we have a whole bunch of questions, a series of about 11 questions here. He said, and we remember to take at the final conclusion. But he said, hey, Mishal, he said, I will pay, and then it makes he died. But the kids said, we're not paying. My, do we, the same question. Me, I'm Mahadika, the children side, and stuff to them. They're not paying because they don't have to. The father said, but we're not going to keep our father's words. I kind of really maintain the father, the cheres of the father. But the they don't have the money right now, so they're trying to carry. Yeah. Shilmu Boni, my. The kids paid. They did pay, but it's the kids. When the owner is happy to give over the kafel, is it just because of what you did right now? I gave you my animal to watch and you watched me, or is it because we have a history together? We like each other. We're friends, and therefore I gave it to you. My much of a look right?
Without him saying anything, or this is after he said he was going to pay.
It says over here right now. Oh, Rashi says big machlek is a shayla. Very good point. Rashi says shilum lebanim. I'm just quoting Rashi. Meisu habaylim v'nignava v'amar Hashem lebanim aneim mishalom. In other words, what happened was, no, sorry, I skipped the line. Shilmul Bani, top line. He
didn't say anything.
Yeah. He just didn't say anything. Yeah. Shilmul Bani, my. He was good to me, not just right now, because Hashem he did me a favor right now. What about Hashem Misacha? He's not doing me a favor. He's paying whatever, or I'm paying him. But the Rashi says he did me many favors over the years. Those were friends. They did I don't know you. Why should I be so generous and give you the kefil? What makes no difference? What about Shilam Libbanim? What about they paid to the kids of the owners? Yeah, the garden. My father would have given you the kefil because you know. So now he's not loving. I'm not shy with you. I didn't listen. What makes no difference? Shilul bonim libon. If you can tell me that the fact is that since our father's alive, whatever it is, a relationship. What about the second generation for both? What about shilul machza? What about if you paid half the money? If you paid half the money, do you get half the kefil? Do you get the full kefil? Do you get anything?
Gilmy wasn't in the yeshiva this time, was he?
Don't name it. He said, I'm going to pay only half. If he said I'm going to pay half, is he entitled to half the kefil or he gets nothing? Shor state potters. Let's say half you don't get. What about he borrowed 2 potters? Vishil Macher paid for 1. How do we view 1 out of 2? Is it half, or do we say each part is like a separate transaction, and therefore he paid the whole one and gets a kefil for that? Shaul mina shutfin. He borrowed from 2 partners, Vishilim lechamen, and he paid only one of them. What's the din then? Now, a little bit hard to understand because whatever money you give to one partner automatically gets split between both of them. You can't, if you borrow from 2 partners, they both own the animal, and just because you paid the money over to one of the partners doesn't mean he gets to keep it. You still have to divide it. So what's the most question?
Maybe he's saying you paid only one partner's portion. You owed each one 100.
Yeah, no, but the partner can't keep it because we don't know which part of the animal owns or whatever it is. You can't keep it because
I'm going to give you 100. We're going to give you 100. You got a chance to give him 100. You didn't get a chance to give him his 100 yet. It's almost like 2 separate.
Yeah, so then he dies. You have to give the other 50 for the other guy.
Of the whole, or is he paid off one guy?
Exactly. Yeah, so that's anyway. So they come up with all kinds of ways why it doesn't have to. These one is that they split the partnership after you stole it. So now, therefore, you pay my half of it. Okay. Shutfin Shishalu. 2 partners borrow them. Vishil Mechman, only one of them paid. What happens then? Half, his half, whatever he owes. Is he entitled to half the kefil that? Because on one hand, he paid everything that he owed. On the other hand, the full amount wasn't paid. Remember, a woman brings in nichsim aloy. She owns the principal, and the husband owns the dividends, the paytas. So he borrowed from a woman, let's say a part from nichsim aloy, and then he paid the baila who only owns the dividends. Is he entitled to the kefil or not? Tesis doesn't like to Rashi Pshat at all, which I just told you. Another Shem learned. Talking about he borrowed from a woman when she was a pnuya, when she was still single, and then she got married. So he's dealing with the husband. How do we view that? Shaila is the husband doesn't own the principal. What does the husband own right now? He owns the dividends, the payers, not the principal. So is that considered Does the owner have does the balabas have the right to decide to transfer the kefil to him or not? Thinking about it further, a woman borrowed, the husband paid. What's it in Teiku? 11 questions, and the answer in all of them is Teiku. He said, losing now, we tell the shaman, okay, you want to pay, it's very nice, but we suspect that maybe you fell, in love with this animal. He's such a good animal, such a good worker, so therefore you coming, this is a good scheme in how to get animals. So he says, swear that you don't have any rishos. Big machlek is rishonim if this is a shuma mahatoida, shuma drabanan. We also had the voluntasis whether all the shuas are rishonim has the 3 shuas. Whether this one here, for example, is to Gilgul shua. In other words, this shua shenim b'shusi we take a chatchila outright we make you swear, or because you're swearing shalei pershaiti shalei shalachti bayad, you already make Gilgul shua for this, or is it one of those a Gilgul shua? Because and therefore, in a case where you don't swear, for example, the Baba says you don't have to swear, but he's you, then there's no shua shein b'shusim ha'tayah. So that's only with the rabbanon. That's everyone is talking about. Is rabbanon or is this a shua ha'tayah? So big machlekes.
Clearly, this guy's trying to get away with making a shua.
No, he doesn't want to swear. He wants to pay.
Saying, I don't want to make a shua, so I'm going to pay you.
Yeah, so we'll make a swear anyway. He pay nothing.
Interesting is in the mentality how much people want to avoid a shua.
Yeah, but he still has to swear.
No, but I'm saying the clothes. I mean, you have all these cases on the
investing in the people.
Yeah, but
he wants a dead animal. I mean, maybe he needs leather. I don't know.
Okay. Right. My time, my wife, we worry. But maybe suddenly he decided he wants to keep that. Basically, that's a question. Very interesting question. You had a malva and a loiva, and there was a loan, and the malva received a mashkin, but he lost the mashkin. So obviously, he has to deduct from the loan the value of the mashkin. The question is if the value of the mashkin exceeds the value of the loan. And here we have a big argument. And the question is who has to swear? So who's the teveya and who's the nitva? Remember, it's always the nitva, the defendant who swears and walks away scot-free. You don't find matayda shu of a noitel unless the other person says, I don't mind, you swear and you can take. So this is, okay, we're going to have 4 cases here. But 2 cases where the malva is a teveya, you still owe me some outstanding money, and you could either be a kaifer hakol, deny you owe me anything outstanding, so then you're exempt from a shua, or you're reminded and mixes. I owe you as much as you say. The mashkin did not cover the full loan. The question is how much was it missing. So made mixes the loiv as a swear, and then the same thing is where the mashkin exceeds the value of the loan. So then the loiv is demanding from the mashkin, from the malva, give me the difference of the money. I owed you 100, but the mashkin was 200. Give me that extra 100. And whether the malva completely denies it or he's made it was more than the loan, but not as much as you claim. The Maidim mixes. Okay, what's that to do with our case here? We'll see in a minute. Amalva is Chaver al-Mashkin, you lend money based on Mashkin, the Mashkin laws, and the Malva says, Selah hilbesicha olav, I lent you a selah and shekel shava. Selah has 2 shekalim or 4 dinim. And it was worth 1 shekel, which means you still owe me a shekel. No, I'm denying it totally. It's worth exactly the same amount as the loan. Potter. He's a kaifer hakel. He's denying the whole amount. He's potter. What about the malva says, sell me sichel, I lend you a seller, shekel shows with a shekel, you're right, just let me a seller. Or but shloisha didn't my shekel. I'll start 4 dinim to a seller, and I made it was more than a shekel, it was 3. I'm saying it's more than, it was not equal to a seller, but it wasn't a shekel. It was more than a shekel. It was 3/4 of a seller. So I only owe you, half of what you're claiming. Then the loiva obviously has to swear because the loiva mixes. Now the other way around. The loiva now is a plaintiff. Seller he'll be senior love. You let me a seller on this mashkin, but Bezo you show it. It was worth 2 slime. You owe me now a seller. And the Malva said, it was worth exactly the loan that I gave you. Pata, pay for Haka. What about seller? He'll be senior. The Loiva said, you lent me a seller. Shanayim Ayisha was worth 2 slime. And the Malva says, I proceed. You're right, seller. But hey, didn't Ayisha. There are 8 dinim in 2 slime. It was worth more than the loan. Only that 1 dinim. And he's a Maida mixes. Chayiv. So now the Malva has to swear that it was worth only 5 dinim. In all of these cases, who swears? As we'll conclude in a minute. Who swears? In the first half of the Mishnah, which is what the Gemara will conclude, the Leiva has to swear. The Leiva made the mixes. So whatever the lady gets up there and swears, I swear that this mashkin it was worth equal. It was worth, let's say, 5 dinim. Sorry, it was worth 3 dinim. So all I owe you is a dinim. You claim I still owe you 2 dinim. I claim I only 1 dinim. So then the Malva suddenly pulls the pekadon out and says, "Huh, you liar! Here it is. It's only worth 3 dinim." We don't want to make a mockery out of the whole business. So we don't want the labor to swear when we don't know what happened to the mashkin. So what happens then? So Misha Pekadon, that's the one's holding on to the Pekadon. Why? Because this guy will swear, and then the guy suddenly produced the Pekadon and demonstrate the guy is a liar.
He lost the become because the guy took it.
That's right. The treasure lost because of that.
That one out the Nachoshe. Ahai. Now, which case are we referring to? Ilay Masefa, where the Malva is the one who's.
It's a good question.
You know, it's lost. The Pekadon is lost. The Pekadon is lost. Oh, we'll see in a minute. That's what we're going to discuss. Ahai, which case are we talking about? Ilay Masefa, where the Malva is the one who's the Meidim mixes, or he'll pull out the Pekadon against himself. The table is sure. Gabi Malvi, and what are you telling me? That the Malva should swear because he has the pekadon? He's swearing because Meidim mixes. It says you have to swear. Look, Meidim makes a taina. That's why he's swearing. Not because of any takonas chachamim. The first part, where the leiva is the defendant, and the leiva is the one who has to swear. The ma'aresha, a safe tradition. We're talking about the second case where the leiva has to swear. The malva says you still owe me. It was only worth 2 dinar. You owe me 2 dinar worth, and the leiva says no, it's worth 3 dinar. Only 1 dinar, and he's made mixes. He'll swear it's only worth 3. It was worth 3 dinar, and then the malva will produce the pekadon and say, see, it's only worth 2 dinar. Selling with Siklo Shekel Yeshava. That's what the Malva claims. It's only worth 2 dinim. Aloim like Yella Celebration Love Shashim Yeshava is worth 3 dinim. My only owe you 1. Chayiv the Shua Gabalego. So who has to swear the label? I'm going to make special pekadon. You know what? Mishtaba Malva. Let the Malva swear. Shema Yeshava Zeh. We don't want to make a mockery out of the whole best. Now, the Emisel Rabuna says the only time the Malva can claim that what? That the shaman has to, let's say he pays, has to swear that what? That's no longer b'shus. So the Malva will have to get up and swear before this whole further, because the Malva like a shame of the pekadon. I don't have the pekadon. I swear ain't a b'shus. So what are you worried about? He'll produce the pekadon that gets his own shur. He just stood up here in front of Bez and said, "I swear I don't have it." So what are we worried about? If you don't agree with Huna, you don't have to swear. That's possible. The Malva, this is the whole ruse. The chap of the labor catching him out. But Imisa Rav Huna keeping the Mishtaba Malva, Shane the Bashus, once it swears he no longer has it. Hey, what do you mean he'll produce it? Omar Rabbi Yosef said, or Omar Rabbi Sheyesh Eidim Shenisifo. There were actually Eidim here. There's no shvur here. The Malva didn't swear. Why didn't he swear? Because you brought Eidim that the object was destroyed. So the obvious question is, before Eidim was destroyed, how can we standing and worried that maybe he'll produce it? For the Gemara, then where's he bringing it from? It's destroyed. El Rabbi Yosef. So it's not the Rabbi, it's Rabbi Yosef first as well. Sheyesh Eidim Shenignava. There were Eidim that was stolen. Not was destroyed, it was stolen. But it was still the same question. Why are we worried to produce the mashkin? So if you say Meichem Ma'isa, where's he bringing it from? The Torah Chabayit. Now that we have this argument here, he'll go out of his way to try to find the Ganef. He'll start thinking back, so who's in my house in the last 2 weeks since I had his mashkin? And then he'll try to trace.
You had Aiden that was stolen.
Yeah.
So the Aiden saw the Ganef.
They just saw the objects on the disappear. They couldn't. It was a masked hoodlum, hooded person. They couldn't see. Freddie Mari Hachiv. So. So if you tell me it's possible even after the shvur the guy can get it, so if the malva swears, why aren't you brought the other way around? Since the mashkin is no longer in the malva's house, it's somewhere out there, just like the malva is able to find it, and we're worried. So why aren't we worried the leiva will find it? And how can you make the malva swear? He'll produce the malva liar. So the Gemara knows a big difference in the malva and the leiva. Bishle malva yodaman ka'ayvul base. The malva has a hint, has a clue, knows who to chase after. He knows who's in his house in the last 2 weeks, and then he'll start looking. Did you steal it, whatever. But azul the tarich, he'll find it. But leiva me yodaman ayvul nothing the base of the malva. The leiva has no clue. Where to start? Where do you begin? How do you find it? So therefore, we're only worried that the malva, even though there were 8 that were stolen, can go ahead and produce it. So Abai gives a different answer. He says, why? Zeta, why we don't want the labor to swear? We're worried. Shema yitin the malva will swear. I still worry. Why? Because he could always say, I found it afterwards. I found it. Where I located it, and therefore, because of this data, we don't want to put the layman in such a predicament that you can catch the guy on black and white. It makes a mockery how the people start treating, try to, and they won't take it seriously. Says the Gemara, Rabashi, you misunderstood. Zeh nishba v'zeh nishba. It's not just the Malva swears. The Leva owes a shvur, right? He owes a shvur made the mixes. So we understood the Malva now is the one who swears and collects. Because we don't want the Leva to swear and turn on mockery. That's not what it's saying here. The Malva swears and the Leva will swear made the mixes. What the guy's saying is, but the Malva first has to swear Ein B'Shusay. And once the Malva swears Ein B'Shusay, then we turn to the Leva. Now you swear made the mixes. And we're not worried that the Malva then, after a shvu in front of a bezin, is going to get up there and say, "Oh, I just found it," because then the Malva's credibility will be completely intact. So, so what does it mean? Then, so not that we take away shvu, we put first impose a shvu on the Malva. You swear you don't have it, then we turn to the Leva. Now you swear made the mix, the value of the thing, so you only know a lesser amount. Then need me nishba not who swears as if we understood only one shvur. Who swears first? Malva nishba tchila. First the Malva should swear. Why? Because Shema yishava zeh v'yeitas because if we had the Leva swear first, and the mixes the Malva can produce it. Okay, we'll stop here.